go. Australians too casual for Taiwanese. Hi everyone, welcome back to the podcast of 199 case studies in cross-cultural management. Today we are going to Taiwan, a very interesting case. We're having this author from Taiwan who works for a family business and hears that actually they will receive some partners from Australia. And so it's a big deal actually for everyone in the company, in the family. And so they take the visit very seriously and they prepare it with a lot of care. And they even buy a new car to drive around the visitors. And they booked the best restaurants in town to give a good impression. And so on the visit day, actually the Australian company sent two young representatives in their 20s, 30s, who came in a very casual clothing. They were very friendly, but very, we could say, carefree, all right? Understanding the trip a bit like some sort of a holiday a little bit, all right? So they come from Australia, they go to Taiwan, they do a bit of business, but also we visit the place and so on. And so the author, she had a great time with those visitors because she could practice her English and she would show around the city and so on. And so enjoyed very much the meeting. However, the family did not enjoy it so much. During the whole visit, everybody kept a very polite and engaging face and commitment. But as soon as the guest left, there was a whole discussion in the family. They felt disappointed, actually offended by those visitors. They did not understand why the visitors were not taking this meeting more seriously, and they felt let down with all the efforts that they had put in preparing the meeting. So this case is a case that is typical in international business. All right, we are used to do business nowadays in various ways. Typically online, we got some videos and so on, but comes the moment when you need to meet face to face. And then the whole question of who do we send and in which conditions becomes a cultural question. And so the various levels of analysis that we can bring to this case would start with, of course, power distance. So power distance, that's the famous dimension from Geert Hofstede. It's a hierarchy and equalitarianism. And Australia scores very low, so a very horizontal style of management. And Taiwan very high, which means a very strong sense of respect for authority, whatever it is. And that includes, of course, the age and seniority. Seniority is part of hierarchy. Cultures that have a strong sense of seniority consider that age automatically brings respect. And therefore, if you want to show your commitment in a business deal, well, you send your senior representatives, aka the older one. In that case, it was a total misunderstanding. We send two relatively young representatives. It doesn't mean they're junior from the Australian perspective. We just send the people we believe is best for that. And from the Taiwanese perspective, it was a misunderstanding. What are those junior doing? Junior because they're young, when in reality, the roles they play might be actually different. And that brings us to, well, not exactly a cross-cultural dimension, but something that is very common across the world when we deal with differences, the sense of formality. Do we have some cultures where we have formal folkways and formal behaviors and formal dress codes, all right? So it doesn't mean we button up. It means simply that we believe that there is a proper way, so that's a question of norm, of course, to dress according to a certain situation. Whereas informal cultures, in our case, the Australians, consider that, well, regardless of the situations, you kind of dress a bit the way you want. I mean, casual, smart, for whatever that means. Maybe me today, I don't know. And so you can, like that, go through all kind of situations, to formal business meetings, to evening dinners, to a cocktail, and then going to a party later. Dress all the time. It doesn't really matter, because what matters is, of course, what we say to each other, the connections, and so on. And who cares about how we dress? So this is another big difference. And finally, the fact that the family kept smiling and kept being very, outside, very welcoming, hides the fact that they were in reality very dissatisfied. But due to the necessity to keep the face, which is a high context communication behavior, they displayed an appearance that was different from their true feelings. But for the Australians, who are coming from a more low context culture, not very low context, but relatively low context, rather direct and I would say to the point and so on, they probably took it for what it looked like some people are happy to see them and very friendly, and probably came back home feeling that the meeting went very well, that they met very happy and charming people, and never understood that their carefree approach was actually felt like a lack of respect. I do hope that it did not endanger significantly the business, but it probably didn't help very much. So that will be all for today. You see, out of a simple case, we can play with the cross-cultural analysis. If you want to know more about this case and about other cases, I advise you to get yourself a copy of my latest book, 199 Cross-Cultural Case Studies. It's available online. You can get an ebook, or you can get a real printed copies. Personally, I always like real books. Thank you very much for being here. If you have any comments, any stories you'd like to share, please write them down below. It will be very interesting to read them and to interact with you. And I invite you to come back to that podcast, because more cases are to come. Thank you very much. Have a good day.